All right, so we have the voltage for this resistor. So we've answered part of C. We know that this is 45 volts right here that we're getting across here. All right, let me adjust the contrast so you can see this a little bit better. Maybe that works. Anyhow, 45 volts right here being dropped across that resistor. So if we know this is 45 volts and that's 45 volts, technically we've already done half of part C. The last thing we want to look at is what's the voltage across here and then across here. Okay. Well, I know that this is 3 amps, and I don't know how many amps of current are coming through here right now, or how many amps are coming through here and here. And these are going to have the same amount of current going through them. All right. And the reason those two are going to have the same amount of current going through them is because they are in series with each other. We're going to assume that every electron going through my 10 ohm resistor goes through my 50 ohm resistor. Okay. For every electron going through my 10 ohm resistor, I will have one electron going through my 10 ohm resistor. All right, so when I go ahead and what I want to do is find the current passing through this one because I know that my current is splitting up here, right? So I'm going to use V equals IR at this resistor here. And I'm going to say voltage is 45 volts and it equals current times 20 ohms, right? Divide both sides by 20. And what I'm going to get is 45 over 20. Is that like 1.25? 2.25. So that is 2.5 amps going this way, or 2.25. So you get 2.25 amps going through there. Here's where we look at the junction rule. All right. If I have 3 amps coming into this junction, I know that the current coming through here and the current coming through this part must add up to equal 3 amps. Well, if I have 2.25 amps coming this way, and I have 3 amps coming in, then that means I must have the remainder going straight and then going through my 10 ohm and my 50 ohm resistor, which means that I can subtract 2.25 from 3. I'm going to get I equals 0.75 amps. I equals 0.75 amps. Okay. If I want to know the voltage at each of those resistors, I'm going to go ahead and multiply those two things together. 0.75 times 50 is going to give me 37.5. And then 10 times 0.75 gives me 7.5 volts, right? Something that you guys should, again, note is that if I add my voltage dropped across here and across here, then I'm going to get the same as the voltage dropped across here. 7.5 volts plus 37.5 volts equals 45 volts, okay? And that makes sense because the voltage from A to B is going to be the same no matter if I go through here or if I go through here. When we're talking about negative and positive voltage drops also, anytime I go against the direction of the current, I'm going to go ahead and draw my current arrows in here. There's one. That's the direction of the current through that one. Each one of my components now has the current arrow drawn with it. So if I go against the direction of the current arrow, then I know that I'm gaining voltage. If I go with the direction of the current arrow, then I know that I'm losing voltage, right, or dropping voltage. So if I go this way, I have positive voltage from here to here. So I have a change in voltage from D to C of positive 37.5 volts. I have a voltage change from C to D of negative 37.5 volts. If I go from D to A, it doesn't matter if I go through there or through here, I am gaining 45 volts because I could go 45 or 37.5 plus 37.5 plus 7.5. If I go from A to D, it is negative 7.5 minus 37.5 or minus 45. Again, it doesn't matter what direction I go as long as I pay attention to whether I'm gaining or losing voltage. All right. So when we get to part D, it says find the voltages VA to D and VB to C. All right, I do want to note the voltage change from B to D is 0. All right, depending on the wire, it should be 0. For our purposes, we're going to say it's 0. So on D, the voltages from A to D are negative 45 volts, right? If we want to go from B to C, it's the same as from D to C, all right? If I go this way, I'm going to say positive 45 minus 7.5 or just positive 37.5. So voltage from B to C is equal to 37.5 volts.